Minecraft in the United States in one weekend made more money than Snow White has made globally after 3 weekends. That's how bad it is right now.
Where we can entertain responsibly, obviously we try to do that. We try to have a positive impact on the world. But the first thing we need to do is entertain.
There was an in-depth piece, like a behind-the-scenes piece, talking about how they've been in a full meltdown about this girl for a couple of years now.
Every way that Disney changed the story, it changed it for the worse.
Hold on tight, movie fans, because you just read that title correctly. AMC, the largest movie theater chain in America, has made an absolutely shocking announcement. They are removing the live-action Snow White movie from every single one of their theaters. Yes, you heard that right. This isn't just a few underperforming locations, it's a complete nationwide pull. What in the world happened? How could a major Disney movie, one with all the hype and a beloved story, face such a catastrophic drop in sales that the biggest cinema chain decided it was better off with empty screens than showing it? This isn't your typical box office disappointment, this is a cinematic emergency. We're diving deep into the jaw-dropping story behind this unprecedented move, uncovering the controversies, the on-air drama, and the fan backlash that led to Snow White's theatrical demise. Trust me, the reasons behind this are more dramatic than any fairy tale.
Who wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
So buckle up and stay with us as we unravel this Hollywood mystery. Quick heads up before we jump in, I'm just 250 subscribers away from getting monetized. Hitting that subscribe button is totally free, and it seriously motivates me to keep dropping more videos with better content every time. Thanks for the support.
Saying that audiences will always line up to see her no matter what she
and at
does.
Every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
You know what's interesting about all of this is that the only person waiting in line to see Snow White was Rachel Zegler.
Imagine the unthinkable, a major Disney motion picture, a live-action adaptation of one of its most cherished classics, Snow White, starring rising talent and a global superstar, being unceremoniously yanked from the screens of the largest theater chain in the United States.
Theaters are, of course, entirely empty. Do you understand that having people buy tickets is an important part of success in your industry? Rachel Zegler, I guess, didn't get the memo.
AMC, just weeks after its initial release. This wasn't some low-budget indie film, this was Disney, a studio synonymous with cinematic magic and family entertainment. Yet, in a move that sent shockwaves throughout the entertainment industry, AMC declared it would cease showing the film in all its locations. This unprecedented decision wasn't made on a whim. Disney, once brimming with confidence for a triumphant run fueled by the iconic status of the original 1937 animated masterpiece, a film that practically defined the animated feature, and the undeniable star power attached to this modern reimagining, now faced a harsh reality.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
AMC, in a statement that stunned analysts and casual moviegoers alike, reported a catastrophic drop in ticket sales, so severe that continuing to screen the film amounted to a significant drain on revenue, filling seats that could have been occupied by more profitable titles. The downturn hadn't been sudden, it was a gradual decline over several weeks, a slow burn of audience disinterest. Yet, no one, not even within the walls of Disney's Burbank headquarters, truly imagined it would culminate in such a swift and decisive exit from theaters. Even the Walt Disney Company, with its vast financial resources, its decades of experience in crafting blockbuster hits, and its legendary, often seemingly infallible, marketing machine, proved utterly unable to salvage this adaptation from the relentless storm of controversies that had dogged its production and release at every single turn. To truly grasp the magnitude of this failure, we need to understand the context of Disney's recent strategy. For years, the studio has successfully mined its rich catalog of animated classics, reimagining them as live-action spectacles that have often resonated with both nostalgic adults and a new generation of viewers. Films like The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin raked in billions at the box office, demonstrating the enduring power of these stories. The announcement of a live-action Snow White naturally followed this established and often lucrative pattern. The original, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, holds a particularly special place in cinematic history. It was Disney's first full-length animated feature, a groundbreaking achievement that paved the way for the entire animation industry and cemented Disney's legacy as a pioneer in storytelling. The casting announcements for this new adaptation generated considerable buzz. Rachel Zegler, a young actress who had garnered critical acclaim for her role in West Side Story, was chosen to portray Snow White, bringing a fresh, contemporary energy to the iconic princess.
Snow White, what did you mean by that?
I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Alongside her was the formidable Gal Gadot, an established global celebrity known for her portrayal of Wonder Woman, cast in the role of the Evil Queen. This pairing seemed like a recipe for success, blending youthful charm with seasoned star power. Disney's promotional campaign promised audiences a fresh take on the legendary fairy tale, hinting at modern sensibilities while still aiming to capture the magic of the original. Yet, almost from the outset, everything that could go wrong, seemingly did go wrong. One of the most significant turning points in this unfolding saga was the now infamous meltdown that occurred during a live television appearance. Disney's public relations team, in their efforts to generate positive media coverage and build anticipation for the film's release, strategically booked Rachel Zegler for various talk show appearances. One such appearance was on The View, a daytime talk show known for its large and engaged audience, particularly among women, a key demographic for a Disney film. The hope was that Zegler could share her experiences filming, address any fan concerns about the adaptation, and generally exude enthusiasm for the project. However, what transpired on that live broadcast was far from the carefully orchestrated promotional moment Disney had envisioned. According to numerous reports and eyewitness accounts, Rachel Zegler made a series of unexpected and, for many viewers, controversial remarks.
Wrote a Snow White that
she's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
These statements, often interpreted as dismissive of the original animated film and its core themes, ignited a firestorm of criticism across social media platforms. The segment quickly spiraled out of control, with visible tension on set and frantic attempts by producers to steer the conversation back to safer territory. While the full extent of the meltdown never fully aired due to an abrupt commercial break, partial clips and second-hand reporting spread like wildfire online, instantly transforming a routine press appearance into a major news story. This live unraveling became a defining moment for the film, casting a long shadow over all subsequent discussions and undoubtedly influencing public perception even before the movie hit theaters. Beyond the on-air drama, a significant source of fan discontent stemmed from the perceived changes to the core narrative of Snow White. The original animated film, while a product of its time, is beloved for its timeless themes of kindness, innocence, and the triumph of good over evil. Key story elements, such as the magic mirror, the poisoned apple, and the iconic dwarfs, are deeply ingrained in popular culture. However, as details about the live-action adaptation began to leak, fans discovered that major story elements, key themes, and even fundamental character arcs had been heavily altered or, in some cases, entirely removed. The shift from what many anticipated as a faithful retelling to a significantly reimagined narrative triggered a wave of skepticism and, for many, outright disappointment. People began to question whether Disney's attempt to modernize the story had gone too far, potentially sacrificing the emotional resonance and the very essence of what made the original so enduring. This wasn't just about minor tweaks, it felt to many like a fundamental departure from the source material they cherished, raising concerns that the adaptation would fail to capture the magic and heart of the original Snow White. Adding further complexity to the situation was the public persona of Rachel Zegler herself. While initially praised for her talent and potential, her outspoken nature and sometimes seemingly dismissive comments about the original Snow White amplified the already growing fan backlash. In various interviews and social media posts, Zegler made remarks that many interpreted as critical of the classic film's themes and characters, suggesting they were outdated or didn't align with modern sensibilities. Whether her intentions were to champion representation and inclusivity or simply to offer a contemporary perspective, the impact on a significant portion of the fanbase was undeniably negative. Furious comments began to flood social media platforms, with many users expressing their disappointment and frustration. Instead of seeing Zegler as a fresh face revitalizing a timeless tale, a segment of frustrated fans began to label her as a symbol of everything they felt was going wrong with the adaptation. Disney, to its credit, attempted to manage the escalating fallout by organizing a series of talk show appearances, hoping to restore the film's reputation before its theatrical release and ensure that the negativity wouldn't completely overshadow opening weekend. However, Rachel Zegler's independent spirit and her willingness to express her own viewpoints, sometimes in direct contrast to Disney's preferred messaging, clashed with the studio's top-down efforts to control the narrative, further intensifying the controversy. The Walt Disney Company has a long and storied history of masterful public relations campaigns, expertly crafting narratives and managing the public image of its films and stars. Yet, with the live-action Snow White, their usually well-oiled machine seemed to falter. The studio struggled to present a cohesive and reassuring message to a concerned fanbase. Instead of a unified front, the public witnessed what appeared to be contradictory statements from various individuals involved in the production, further fueling rumors about behind-the-scenes turmoil and a lack of clear direction. Industry insiders speculated that Disney executives, including Bob Iger, who had recently returned to a top leadership role to navigate the company through a period of transition and challenges, were growing increasingly anxious as the negative buzz surrounding the film continued to escalate. Iger, known for his adept handling of corporate controversies in the past, seemed to face an unprecedented challenge in managing this particular crisis. The studio's crisis management approach appeared to lack coherence, failing to effectively address the core concerns of the audience and stem the tide of negative publicity. Adding a significant layer to the narrative was the commentary provided by Joe Rogan, a highly influential figure in the media landscape with a massive and dedicated audience for his popular podcast. Rogan dedicated a substantial portion of his show to dissecting the Snow White fiasco in painstaking detail, offering his perspective on the various factors that contributed to its downfall. He highlighted that AMC's decision to remove the film was more than just a reflection of poor box office numbers. He framed it as a significant cultural moment, a visible demonstration that even a behemoth like Disney, with all its customary advantages, its deeply ingrained brand loyalty, its seemingly limitless marketing budget, its ability to attract star-studded casts, could no longer take success for granted. Rogan meticulously traced the chain of events that led to this point, emphasizing the impact of Rachel Zegler's candid interviews, her controversial remarks on The View, and her social media activity, all of which often diverged significantly from Disney's carefully curated messaging. He argued that the combination of these factors, coupled with the perceived changes to the beloved story itself, created a perfect storm of negative backlash that ultimately proved insurmountable. Rogan's commentary, reaching millions of listeners, undoubtedly amplified the negative sentiment surrounding the film and further solidified the narrative of a major misstep by Disney, while Rachel Zegler became the focal point of much of the controversy. The film also featured Gal Gadot, a global superstar whose presence was initially seen as a major asset. Gadot, known for her commanding presence and portrayal of iconic characters, was cast as the Evil Queen, a role that many believed she could imbue with both glamour and menace. The expectation was that her established celebrity status and fan base might offer a balancing effect, potentially drawing in audiences who were otherwise hesitant due to the surrounding controversy. However, as the meltdown narrative took hold and dominated all discussions about the film, Gal Gadot's involvement became almost an afterthought. Joe Rogan even pointed out rumors of potential friction between the two lead actresses, with allegations circulating that Rachel Zegler had privately criticized Gadot's background or political viewpoints. While these rumors remained unverified, they contributed to the overall impression of a production mired in conflict and lacking the unified vision that often characterizes successful Disney films. Gal Gadot herself largely distanced herself from the drama, offering only generic statements of excitement for the film. While this neutral stance may have been an attempt to protect her own brand, it ultimately meant that the film's promotion lacked the synergy and upbeat tone that Disney had originally planned, replaced instead by a swirling vortex of speculation and negativity. The swift and decisive removal of Snow White from AMC Theatres stands as an unprecedented event in the history of major Disney live-action remakes. Historically, these films enjoy extended runs in cinemas, often becoming cultural phenomena and significant revenue generators for both the studio and exhibitors. For a film of this scale and pedigree to vanish from the largest theater chain in the country within such a short timeframe sends a powerful message throughout Hollywood. Even the biggest studios can stumble dramatically when controversies overshadow the actual film itself. The Snow White meltdown serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the delicate balance that studios must strike when reimagining beloved classics for modern audiences. It underscores the critical importance of respecting the source material, effectively managing public perception, and navigating the complexities of star power in the age of instant social media feedback. The confluence of significant narrative changes, a perceived lack of reverence for the original, and an actor's explosive remarks on live television created a perfect storm that no amount of marketing magic could overcome. This fiasco will undoubtedly prompt studios to reevaluate their strategies for handling both their beloved intellectual property and the public personas of their stars, lest they find themselves facing a similar, equally disastrous, exit.